As I said before the break, earlier in the week we had the latest edition of the commercial success known as Sit Down with Sitwell. But what we didn't tell you is that earlier we did a bit of standing too. Indeed, some standing in a part of my house which I can't pretend I use all that often, the kitchen. Why, you may ask? Well, it was a few years ago now when the great Alexander Boris Johnson and I met after a busy day of Brexit leadership campaigning, actually. Boris had been indefatigably waving kippers at a hustings meeting in an attempt to remind the public that Brexit had all sorts of benefits to help unleash Britain's latent herring industry. He was, of course, as usual, fully vindicated, as Britain's herring industry is now stronger than ever. But this isn't just a fishy tale, because I'd actually eaten Boris's dinner, having spoken for him at an event that he was meant to do but couldn't because he was doing the hustings. When he came to my house, he realised he was a bit peckish. The family were all in Somerset for the school holidays. There wasn't a lot of food around. All that was left were the kippers. So after a rummage through the kitchen to find the necessary utensils, Boris did the honours and fried up those kippers that he'd been waving about a few hours earlier. I'm not sure how fresh they were because the house stank for a few days afterwards, but I asked William how he would do it, how he would cook them perhaps less smellily, and in a selfless act of charity, William Sitwell taught me how to complete this impossible task earlier in the week.
Now, Jacob, I know that this is your house, but this is a room you may not have been in. This is a kitchen.
Well, I come in here occasionally, make the odd cup of coffee, or have a bathful of biscuits, keep myself fed.
Okay. When you finish the cup of coffee, do you bring it back here, or does it linger in another part of the house?
Well, I have a nasty feeling if you went around the house, you might find quite a few coffee cups in different places hidden away.
Okay. Do you know where the dishwasher is?
No, I don't.
There's a sink there where
excellent.
you can
It's all
wash
very,
up a cup
very
of
useful.
coffee.
But, as I think I may have told you before, as I'm entering into my anecdotage, during Boris's leadership campaign, he had been waving around some kippers as some great Brexit advantage.
That's why you've got kippers.
Not these
here.
ones, they'd have gone a bit off by now. And we met up because I'd done an event for him, and he came round to my house in Cowley Street and was a bit peckish because he'd missed his tucker, and therefore cooked these kippers. And it would seem to me an immeasurably complicated thing. We searched every cupboard to find something to put it in and get the right equipment, and then he fried them up. But you apparently think this is all very easy.
Well, the art of cooking kippers is quite simple, and I'll discuss that in a minute. Of course, the important thing about the kipper, like all food, is the provenance. Make sure you buy, good fish from a good source. They should be fresh.
Have a good fish sauce. I read your absolutely gripping restaurant reviews in all sorts of fancy places you go to, and I think, well, that would give me indigestion just to look at it, let alone.
Well, some of them I do get indigestion, so I have to be careful. Vegetables, a pea or a carrot, does that ever pass your lips?
No, I don't like peas or carrots. I like runner beans.
Okay, cabbage?
Cabbage, all right, yes, go with cabbage.
So cavolo nero, maybe you might have, yeah?
Translate it for me.
It's a brassica, it's a type of cabbage.
Oh, is it?
A sprout at Christmas?
I like Brussels sprouts.
Okay.
Yes.
So listen, when it came to you and Boris trying to cook these kippers, what were you looking for as you were going around the kitchen?
Well, things to cook with.
Yes, fine.
But that was the key thing. Where were these cooking implements?
Okay, and
because there must be there.
Well, I'm going to explain how you cook them, but
all right.
How did you think you needed to cook a kipper? What did Boris think?
Well, I had absolutely no idea how to. He's much more competent than I am in so many things, but particularly when it comes to cooking kippers. He knew that you needed warm them up. He was looking for a frying pan, I think.
Yes, okay.
And butter he wanted.
Yes, yep. So the key piece of kitchen equipment there was of course the frying pan. Let me let you into a secret. I actually think the kippers are best cooked incredibly simply just in an oven. Shall I show you how to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's do.
While we're doing it, I think there's
but
one thing.
But you've cheated. You've got a pan already.
Well, I found
we
a pan.
didn't have that.
I looked around and I found one. I think there's one thing.
Would you like a glass of wine?
Well, that's probably something I think you probably can do.
That's essential.
I expect you like your whites and your reds. Are you allowed to go overseas, or is it merely in France that you take your Chardonnay from?
Well, I think one should always remember the great reason for drinking claret is in the last battle of the 100 Years' War, the good people of Bordeaux asked us to go and rescue them from the French. And do you know why this was? And we lost it, unfortunately, but it's because the French were putting a higher tax on their wine than we were. And so they wanted to remain English, and therefore to thank them for their loyalty to the crown, I think one should stick to claret, by and large.
Okay, fair enough. Right, before we set that, let me show you what
I'll show you this incredibly difficult task. You found the pan in advance. It was a pan you'd prepared earlier.
Yeah. I've also done something which is...
That's a lot of butter.
Which is also to turn on an oven. I like butter.
Yeah, so do I, but that's a week's ration in the war.
We'll put a big knob of butter on each kipper, okay? That's all you need to do, all right?
Well, that's it.
Now, you're going to do the next part, right?
Yes.
Which is, you don't need the oven glove, all right?
No, because it's cold at the moment. Even I know that.
Exactly.
That's stupid.
There's an oven here.
Oh, yes.
Right, which I've already set to about 180. Right?
Yes.
So all I need you to do, Jacob, to show the great skill that you've got, is to put the kippers in the oven. Would you like to do that?
All right. So I better open the oven, hadn't I? Top or bottom?
We'll put it in the middle.
In the middle. And there we go.
There we go. Close the oven door.
Yes.
And in 10 minutes' time, we should have a kipper. Chin chin.
Are you kipper? You're very good health.
Well, I make that 10 minutes, Jacob. So would you like to do the honours and take out the kippers?
I would normally defer to a master chef, but all right, I will have a go. This seems to be a left-handed glove, but perhaps it's multi-handed. Sizzling away. Very splendid.
There you have it.
Some fine kippers, and that's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do.
But there you are. So now whenever guests come round, I'll be able to give them kippers. I'm not sure how many guests are coming round anymore, but it'll be my own work. It'll taste all the better.
They're very lucky guests because a fine kipper with a glass of white burgundy, who knows, maybe some scrambled eggs, Jacob.
That's getting very technical.
Exactly.
I think that's far too complicated.
Anyway.
Well, the kippers have not died in vain.
Thank you for having me in your kitchen.
Great pleasure, as always.